Good morning, everybody. This is Michelle Nightpaver. I'm the co-director of MEDIC. We're officially kicking off our fall collaborative-wide meeting. It's great to have you all here. I want to give a shout out and warm welcome to everybody, our clinical champions, our abstractors, our hospital administrators, and special guests and speakers for today. So I hope you will find our meeting today very engaging. We've worked very hard on our agenda. We're going to go through a couple of housekeeping items as we begin to kick off the day. A little technical. So in terms of disclosures, just a reminder to everybody that Keith Coker has a state opioid response grant through SAMHSA in partnership with MOPN to pilot our naloxone distribution to 10 MEDIC ED sites. The rest of us in the coordinating center have nothing to disclose. The agenda today is really about 3 hours. Starting at this point, we'll be done completing our agenda at about noon today. So we'll get you off to an early start to your weekend. In the middle of that, we will break for about a 5-minute coffee session at about 10:55 a.m. You can top off your coffee and come on back. And the morning will be filled with our guests and guest speakers. And in the afternoon, we're going to talk a little bit more about our strategies, set us up for some good quality work in 2021. So the agenda should have been mailed to your email if you're looking to follow along. So just to review some of the ground rules, remember we're on a Zoom platform, but instead of using the typical chat that we have often done in the past, just like our last collaborative-wide meeting, I just want to remind everybody to please use the Q&A function. We really would like this to be as much as possible a discussion, so we welcome your input and your questions, but please do type them in the question and answer section of the Zoom platform. And we have people sitting off-site here that will definitely feed your questions in, and we will get to them. So that's very much encouraged, and we welcome that. As a reminder, we do offer CME for our collaborative-wide meetings, and that was also sent. There's a QR code. You do have to register for a My CME account if you're new to MEDIC. But if you have any trouble at all, please let us know. We can help get that done for you, and it does expire in 6 months. So please make sure to take advantage of that. At the end of our meeting, about 24 hours later, you will receive a survey link in your email. It's very important to us in the coordinating center, as well as Blue Cross Blue Shield, to know that we're adding value to your ED operations in terms of quality. So please do give us some feedback. What's going well? What could be improved? We really do welcome that, and we do act on that. So that'll be coming about 24 hours after the meeting into your email. So please look for it. So I wanted to give you a little bit more of an update on our MEDIC work groups. For those of you who are already in MEDIC in the last few years, you know that the work of MEDIC goes well beyond 3 collaborative-wide meetings a year. There is a lot of detailed deep dive work that typically happens off cycle, and we have masterminded a template of a small group format, what we call work groups. So this year we have added an additional work group I'm very excited to talk to you about. Due to the summer's national discourse on social injustice, we in MEDIC felt that it was very important, and we heard from many of you that it was important to you to start having a conversation about how we could use the work that we do and integrate the MEDIC registry and the quality work that we do with a lens of disparities. So our first meeting was kicked off on October 22nd. And we will design a monthly cadence of meetings. If you're still interested in participating, by all means, email us. To those in the other work groups, chest pain, as well as pediatric asthma, we want to thank all of the volunteer clinical champions for their work on this, but they are right now in a pause mode after having produced a wonderful creation of a toolkit for our MEDIC endorsed practices, which Megan Hogikian is going to talk in much more detail to you a little bit later in the presentation. So thank you to those folks, and more work to come in the coming 2021 engagement year. So we want to recognize all good work coming out of MEDIC from our clinical champions and our coordinating center. And we have some new publications coming from a couple of our members. We want to give special kudos and a shout out to Dominique Hill from St. Mary's in Livonia, who just published a paper in the Western Journal of Emergency Medicine, an update on neurologic manifestations of COVID-19, and also recognized Dr. Michelle Macy for 2 publications in the Journal of Pediatrics this past month in November on observation encounters and length of stay benchmarking in children's hospitals, as well as hospital observation status and readmission rates. Congratulations, ladies. So there's been another election that went on this past fall, and in addition to the national election, and we actually have the results from ours. And we want to thank everybody who has served on the executive committee to date. But we also want to announce the results of our executive committee moving forward for 21 and 22. So Dr. Dominique Hill from St. Mary's in Livonia, Dr. Rob Nolan from Spectrum Health in Lakeland and St. Joe, Aaron Brennan from Sinai Grace Hospital in Detroit, Seth Krupp, Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit, Tim Archer from Munson Medical Center in Traverse City, Raj Arora from Children's Hospital in Detroit, and Beth Plemons, Henry Ford Hospital, representing both Wyandotte and Brownstown, and Blaine Dennis from Beaumont Hospital in Troy, and finally Lee Benjamin from St. Joe Mercy Hospital in Ann Arbor. Welcome aboard, and we look forward to your stewardship as we guide ourselves through the coming year. So also just a little reminder, we were very busy this summer in response to COVID-19, and we prepared several virtual grand rounds, and those CME credits are still up for grabs. So you are welcome to sign in, take a look at those, and claim credit for CME. So if you haven't already, please do so. So now we're going to get a little bit to the business of MEDIC. Every collaborative-wide meeting, as you know, we usually start ourselves off with a dashboard of where are we in our quality journey. So this dashboard is a little bit different this year, and I want to just call your attention to the year-over-year performance, and we'll go through each quality measure. But I want to just bring your attention to the qualifiers as you're looking at the data for 2020. That asterisk at the top signals our strategy, which we've discussed both internal in the coordinating center as well with the collaborative, about our strategy of how we're going to measure our performance as a result of the impact of COVID-19, which we know has had a significant impact on all of us as providers and in our institutions. So this data actually excludes several key members, just so that you are aware who's in, who's out to these numbers, but also to just let you know that the data is really based on a smaller segment of time, January and February of 2020, and omitting the bulk of the impact of COVID, spring and early summer, and then resuming in July, which is the last complete set of data we have. So you can tell that that is still missing the fall data abstraction and finalization that is currently ongoing. So this really represents 3 months of data. So, but as you can see, we have some things to talk about today, and we're going to go into those in a deeper dive this afternoon. But let's just run through them so we all kind of know where we're at this point. So remember, the adult minor head injury, we're looking at CT appropriateness, and the trend is usually upward. And in our table here, we see a slight downward trend at 51.1%. In pediatric minor head injury, the measure is a CT overuse measure. And again, the trend is downward. So we see there is a trend downward for the first 3 years, and then a significant uptick in 2020 for at least these 3 months that have been reported and finalized. Similarly, for pediatric minor head injury, the intermediate risk CT use, again, the downward trend is what we would like to see. And we see in 2020 another slight upward uptick. And then finally, we want to see an upward trend for adult CT for suspected PE, the diagnostic yield quality measure. Year over year performance is slightly trending upward, and at least 2020 seems to be stabilized at 9.3. And then the pediatric respiratory measure for chest x-ray use is a utilization measure. We'd like to see less chest x-rays done in these cases. And again, in 2020, we see a slight uptick. So we're going to jump a little bit, and I will give you a little bit of time to ask me questions about this, but please do know we're going to go into this in a little bit deeper way this afternoon. So in terms of, I know what's on everybody's mind, it's, gee, are we going to get VBR in the coming year? So we want to just remind everybody that this is a little bit different data than the previous slide, in that not every institution is eligible for VBR. Remember, it requires a full baseline year of data, followed by a year being measured. And then in the following year, if you qualify for that team target acquisition, then you then you are able to get VBR. So for the CT scan appropriateness for the adult minor head injury, remember that our target is typically around 50, I'm sorry, I need my glasses, 50%. And you can see that we are near that target for these 3 months. So we're relatively safe for the months that we have finalized. For the pediatric overuse and minor head injury, there's a little bit of an up and undulating pattern here for the 3 month of data that we do have, and we're on the cusp of the threshold for qualifying for VBR, but it'll all come down to that finalization of data that we have yet to see. For the intermediate pediatric head injury CT use, we have a little bit more of an issue because we are not quite hitting our threshold. And remember, as a team, we need to qualify for all of these things to get VBR as a team. So the finalization of data is going to be very important for VBR subsequently. So I'm going to stop there for just a minute and see if there's any questions from our collaborative about these information, these data. Okay, I see no questions, so we're going to push forward here.